Good day and welcome to my cultivation guide for outer and inner disciples. I'm Icon and this video will guide you through the process of cultivating your outer and inner disciples. I want to talk about what are the jobs and the capabilities of these disciples and how to optimize the cultivation process itself. So we're going to start with the outer disciples and then work our path over to the inner disciples. So about the outer disciples and their cultivation process, it's pretty simple. They need a training spot where they can train, and then they'll just do their training according to the work schedule. Here they train 2 hours per day, that's the standard default setting, and you can watch the progress of their cultivation at this point. So when this body here is filled with the yellow color, which is resembling training points, the disciple is able to go for a promotion, which is happening here. So once they are at this point, you can promote them to an inner disciple. But be careful, because outer disciples are the only people in your sect that are doing the mundane work. So only outer disciples show up here in the work plan. That's why it's the outer disciple work plan. So keep in mind that you will always have to keep a handful of outer disciples in your sect to keep the jobs going. And this is also the main chore of your outer disciples, to train hard and to do all the dirty work. Because if they stop training for some reason, they're going to lose foundation per day. And this way, if they keep training, they'll at some point reach their enlightenment. So once they're at this point, you can promote them and establish them into some law of your choices. When you're going to do that, always keep in mind every law has a according element which it follows, and it has a certain set of stats it prefers. But luckily the game here tells me, for example, that this guy has a 155% match of this law, and if we click this here through, we see there are less and better choices to pick. The law itself is a path to strive for enlightenment. After all, you can check out the skills they learn here with all the descriptions. The most important part is when you decide yourself for a law, there is a element which will be defined behind that school of power. So whatever you might choose, let's just say we're going to choose that really fitting thing. Let's choose that law, and here we get some advice about this part, and that's that. From this point on, the outer disciple is no longer an outer disciple, but an inner disciple here. So here we can just watch him perform that transformation, and bang, now he's promoted into the rank of an inner disciple. Once they are at the inner disciple, this cultivation screen looks a lot different. So instead of the very simple things here, we see now that the inner disciple has a lot of new skills. First up, I want to talk about the basic function of a inner disciple, and that's studying, honing their skills, and defending the sect, doing adventures, and also crafting items via alchemy or the crafting skill, drawing talismans, and well, they can also be pupils of a Golden Core sect member, but that's something else. So alchemy is closely related. Alchemy, crafting, and alchemy and crafting are closely related to certain skills on your character, which you can find here in the inspiration menu. Here, the inspiration menu opens up your skill tree, basically. These are all the spells and skills you can learn. I'm trying to put it into words that are more common to our RPG sense. And down here you see the character skills. That's artifact mastery, how to use artifacts, alchemy, and spell casting, artifact crafting, protection, that's defense against chi-based spells, and formations. Overall, you can spend inspiration points, which are spendable here in this department, or at the skills here, or with manuals. Manuals are books that you can read and learn new things. Manuals are stored in the manual pavilion, and if you want to study something, you can send your inner disciple there, and then you select the book there, and you see here tells me that I don't have enough inspiration. Basic rule there, they spend inspiration as a form of experience points to learn new skills. You can learn all these things by default, and you can learn everything which has been transcribed into a manual and has been laid down in your manual pavilion from other skill trees, basically. Everybody who has gained skills can transcribe his own skills into the manual pavilion, so you can exchange skills between inner disciples to no problem, without any problems. So that's one thing they can do. Alchemy is a little bit more straightforward. You have elixirs that you can create with that. You will need the alchemy furnace for that, and you'll acquire recipes and books, which you can again read here in the manual pavilion. Crafting creates artifacts, legacy artifacts and attachments. At the state of the inner disciple, your guys will only craft artifacts. Artifacts are a new form of equipment a inner disciple is eligible to wear, and these are going here if you check this out. Outer disciples can also wield them, but inner disciples are very, very unhappy if they don't. And artifacts, as you see here, provide you a multitude of skills. Artifact power, chi recovery, artifact power is the level, sorry, that's not a good example. Chi recovery, chi capacity, fly speed, knockback resistance, and a lot of other things go in here. And artifact crafting needs an artifact and a crafting table. Artifact crafting is directly connected to your artifact crafting skill, and it's pretty simple. You just build up that table, then you select craft, and then you can select anything to make it into a to transform it into an artifact. You can really transform anything into an artifact because you basically just attach stats onto that item by turning it into an artifact. So you see here, I can use that on fabric, on a piece of cotton, on some materials, on some piece of clothing, and the higher the quality of the item, you see here the amount of chi necessary is rising and rising. So don't you worry if you start out creating artifacts out of I don't know, what's a good example here? Wood offcuts. So for example, a piece of cotton. It doesn't really matter because you can equip it, and then your guys will receive the bonus. But what about the cultivation, you ask? So cultivation works a little bit different for inner disciples. Inner disciples have first off a mental state, and this ball of power will deplete with time. Here you can configure how your inner disciple will learn. This is the balance setting, is the basic setting. Practice increases these points here. Mind increases this ball here. And train increases the inspiration points. So broken down into simple words, this is your progress into the next stage of enlightenment. This is your your mental stability. Your people grow very unhappy and have lower success chances on their breakthroughs if they are mentally unstable. And this is just flat out XP that you can spend for all manner of different things. Here, for example, you see that this fella here learned several extra manuals. Oh, about the learning thing, I want to talk about the attainment here as well. Attainment is a value increasing the cost for the next skill to learn. So if you want to have certain skills really desperately, take care that you don't acquire anything with a high level attainment, which you don't want to have. So apart from that, you're pretty free to decide on your own how to evolve. But if you want to unlock the other skills here, you need to evolve there, and thus you need to cultivate. Cultivation is performed by outer disciples on training spots. Inner disciples prefer cushions, later chi cushions, and you can do a lot of funny things to create faster progress. So first of all, the amount of chi in the environment is speeding up your cultivation progress. So basically you can progress faster. Outer disciples can also eat certain things to gain foundation by that. Check out the tooltips of all these items. There's a lot of things that you can just consume to increase your foundation, or a lot of things that's also worth to mention. But if you want to put up a good training spot which is cheap to come by, check out those trees which are overgrown by this bluish stuff. If you ever manage to come across spirit grass, it's even better. Basically, the more chi in an environment, the better. Outer disciples don't care about what kind of element their cultivation spot has. Inner disciples are more interested in that. That's because a inner disciple always follows a certain element with his law, or well, most of the time. And therefore you need to adjust the cultivation spot. So this is the cultivation spot of Lin. Lin is a follower of a fire law. Therefore I created a room which has a high amount of wood feng shui, because wood is strengthening fire. Basically, if your guy is a fire element, you want to put wood decorations into the vicinity. If your guy is a water element, you want to strengthen that with metal, and so on. That's one thing. So I enclosed this meditation spot with lots of wooden items. And here I put spirit wood logs onto pedestals to display them. That's something I did to increase the chi density of this place. Because the more chi somewhere the more chi's somewhere, the faster they learn. So when you check this out, spirit wood gathers chi on its own. So you see here, gather chi 20, range 4. And other materials gather chi none. You see here, most materials don't even gather chi. So creating an environment like this is very, very helpful. And if you want to have it a little bit less influential elemental wise, you can go for displays which have a fitting element to your guy. Always keep in mind that ice and fire elemental pieces of decoration do increase or decrease the temperature. You can counteract that with talismans. So once your people are at a certain learning spot, they will need to do a breakthrough. So this is one breakthrough thing at the spark point. The man-made fire thing is a breakthrough point. And whenever you want to achieve a breakthrough, there's a lot of things that will increase or decrease your success chances. So you want to have a spot that's harmonious with your law, that has a lot of elemental points, that has a lot of chi. You want to have a high composure here, and even the season plays a major role. So while climbing those ranks, a room with a lot of chi and positive elements is what you use to train faster, but also to do your breakthroughs. And with these things, you can soar through ranks until you get closer to the golden core state, and then things get a little bit more complicated again. But these tips and tricks should help and guide you through your inner and outer discipleship. And I hope that explained a few things which were unclear before. So I'm pretty sure I forgot a few things, so feel free to drop a comment down below or ask questions away. I'm very, very eager to see what you guys have to say. As usual, feel free to leave likes or subscribes if you want to support the project. I'd be super happy. And yeah, let's expand this and have some fun with this game. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.